Welcome to the Medical Device Made Easy podcast. Here is Munir Lazouzi from easymedicaldevice.com, and today we'll help you to manage your software and specifically changes within your software. And this is called the PCCP. So I know that maybe people say, what is this PCCP? So we will explain that to you, but because it's maybe a magic tool that can be really helping you a lot, and we'll explain to you everything for that. And I have with me Maria Diez from CMGMedDev. So Maria, welcome to the Medical Device Made Easy podcast.
Hi, Munir. Thank you for inviting me to your podcast. I'm really happy to be here with you, sharing
Great.
this.
So really happy to have you. If people haven't followed the AI Act Summit, so you were also part of the AI Act Summit as a presenter, which was a great presentation also. But yeah, today another topic, not talk about AI. Let's go about PCCP. So Maria, but before, can you make an introduction of yourself? Just explain more about you.
Yeah, sure. Well, I'm a biologist and I performed my PhD in neurobiochemistry. And then I moved to the clinical and medical device world. And I have been working on the medical device world for almost 10 years now. And I was specialized mostly on software as medical device and software incorporating artificial intelligence. You didn't want to mention it today, but it's going to appear today.
Exactly.
Yeah, now I'm working as a consultant and working with a lot of different products and a lot of different fields within within our field of medical devices, not only software, but also other kind of medical devices, hardware, and also in vitro medical devices.
Great. So, as said, today we'll be focusing on software as medical devices and also focusing to the US market because PCCP mainly is in the US market. So, let's start maybe about the first question because people are maybe impatient to know. So, what is PCCP? What it is exactly, and what is the history of it?
Well, PCCP is a new term for an old tool, I think. So it's an optional tool that is implemented that can be implemented by manufacturers of medical device if they want to perform a change on a clear or approved medical device within in the United States, but allows them to implement this change without making a new submission. And so the FDA approves their devices or clear their devices with this plan incorporated in this submission, ensuring the safety and effectiveness of the devices. So it's not for all the changes the manufacturers want to make, that there are a lot probably in the medical device life cycle, but it's for some specific changes that we will talk a little later. And yeah, it's a plan to address these changes without having to submit a new submission.
So, mainly here, if somebody maybe that is listening works on the software as medical device field, we know that software has many updates due to sometimes cybersecurity, due to sometimes some changes of environment or updates, diverse updates that can happen, small updates, big updates, etc., etc. So here, what you are saying is mainly that this tool is here to say here are the updates that I plan to have maybe. And please, if I can say, don't ask me to send you a submission again for these updates. Authorize me to do these updates without going to submit that to the FDA, mainly because it's FDA tool. So is it correct?
Yeah, exactly. But it is important to consider that not all the changes can be included in a predetermined change control plan. Uh, and this plan can be also used in all the medical devices, not only software based. Okay.
Okay.
So, but yes, is for many changes that the manufacturers plan to do, or because not only the maintenance, but also improvements or other implementations, they can include them in the predetermined change control plan. so they can avoid this new submission.
So now we are starting to create our software or, as you said, other devices. So mainly we want to use this tool. How is it working? What are the steps that I have to follow to put that in place, if I can say, to put this methodology in place?
Unearth the pulse of the medtech world with MedTech Conf, a dynamic platform featuring global events on medical devices, biologicals, IVD, and pharmaceuticals. Stay informed, stay ahead, connect, share, and elevate your knowledge. Become an official sponsor. Make your event shine on the map. MedTech Conf, your key to the medtech universe. Remember, the future is now, and it's at your fingertips with MedTech Conf.
Well, first of all, the manufacturers should decide what kind of changes they want to implement on their devices for the future, and to decide if these changes are going to affect the safety and effectiveness of the device, or if the changes are going to modify the intended use, then they cannot use this tool. So first of all, they need to decide, okay, these are the changes we need to implement. When are we planning to implement them? With how frequency? So do we need to establish a predetermined change control plan to be approved with our submission, or we must wait, or we must implement them before the submission? So the first thing is, as always, a strategy.
Yeah. So you mean it's not something that you have to do from the beginning. You can do it also after that you have made the submission. The only thing is that if you do it after, any change that happens in between has to be reported, I think, then to the FDA.
Yeah, exactly. You can submit the documentation for clearance or for approval of one medical device. You can obtain the approval or the clearance, and then for the next submission, you want to include a predetermined change control plan within your workflow. So you need to perform a new submission with this plan included on it, so the FDA can review properly and can ensure that you have the proper tools and you have the proper plan and procedure to implement the changes without affecting the intended use or the safety of the device.
So it's important what you're saying. So safety and intended use. These are the two keywords I think that people have to recall. So if the change that I'm doing and I do an analyze and it's touching safety or changing the intended purpose or intended use of the device, it's mandatory then to go back to a new submission or to a new application.
Yeah, sure, exactly. You need to notify the FDA with your change proposal, and it's a new submission, as you said. Yeah, exactly.
So when we are creating a PCCP, so then when we are creating so can you remind the acronyms PCCP, what it means exactly?
Predetermined change control plan.
So predetermined change control plan. So as you said, so we are trying to anticipate any potential change, and we are putting a plan on it so that people, that the FDA is agreeing on that. So it means that we are submitting that to the FDA. The FDA reviews. Can they come back to us and say, no, we don't agree on this or we don't agree on that? Or how is it working, the communication with them?
Yeah, exactly. In fact, it is recommended to start talking with the FDA on your plan PCCP before the submission, on the Q submission. The FDA recommends to start engaging with them on this topic earlier, so you can discuss with them the changes you are planning to do. So they can say, okay, you are including the right changes, the proper changes for this kind of plan, and not only the modification, but also the procedures you are going to follow to validate and to verify and validate the modifications, how you are going to implement them, how you are going to communicate them. So it's like an independent part of the submission. It has its own entity.
Mm-hmm.
it's an independent part. So as I said before, you can create a new submission just for trying to be this plan approved. So yeah, I don't know if I.
No, it's clear. So now the thing is that you said something important also. So you have for people that are not knowing about the US, you can also have what we call a Q submission, which is a pre-submission, mainly where you are discussing with the FDA about your strategy, and then the FDA can say yes, it's fine, or no, it's not fine, and guide you more about where you are going. So they will not give you all the keys or all the answer or whatever, but they will tell you yes or no, or this is maybe a risk, so be careful, or that thing, etc. So they have more discussion than what we have maybe in Europe. And this is mainly something that we are recommending to everybody. So before to submit your 510K or whatever, have a Q-sub with them. Sometimes they are not even having a meeting. It's just an email that they send to you. So you send them the presentation with all the question and everything, and then they can already send you just an email with all their answers directly, which can be also more convenient for you. But yeah, this is also something that is existing. So this is the strategy that mainly Maria is talking about, to have a Q-sub and then present your PCCP on it. When you say early engagement with the FDA, so it's like when you think about your device, or when you have already arrived to nearly the submission? I mean, what we talk about early?
Well, when you plan to submit your device, when you plan to perform, when you will plan to perform a Q submission, this informal talk we are talking about is that when manufacturers should engage with the FDA, not just go through directly to the submission without asking them first, hey, I'm planning to create a new PCC plan. It's better to do it earlier on the pre-submission. But this pre-submission, these questions, and their answers doesn't mean that at the end they are going to approve it to you.
Exactly.
Maybe
it's not. It's also a good point. Yeah, people think that, oh, you do a pre-submission, they have provided you some answers, so it's fine. No, it's not fine. It's just a guidance. It's a guide. It's really helping you to guide you, but it's not giving you the final answer or the final thing that they are expecting from you. So then you still have to go, and you cannot say, oh, but you told me this, so I thought that, and it's why you are not accepting. No, it's why you have really to be careful also of this. It's really a guidance. It's not really mandatory. I mean, it's not like the answer to all your questions.
That the PCC plan is an independent file, because you need to be sure that it contains all the information required and is independent from the rest of your documentation. Because maybe when you submit all your medical device documentation that includes this PCC plan, the FDA approves the rest of your documentation, but doesn't like a lot your PCC plan. So maybe they can approve your device without your PCC plan, and for, in that moment, maybe for your strategy is the best idea. So you decide to go through it without improving the PCC plan and let it wait until subsequent submission. So just be careful.
And mainly here is for, as you said, the first time you submit. So is a PCC plan something that as soon as it's approved, it can stay like that forever? Or we can modify it, or how is it working this?
Yeah, but it's like the same. It's the same as the rest of the documentation and as the rest of the medical device. I have heard recently that you can consider your PCC plan as a medical device by itself.
Okay.
So if you modify it and it's a significant change, you also have to notify the FDA and to create a new submission for the new plan.
Okay, yeah. So interesting. So it's considered like the label and IFU, etc., like part of the medical device. So if you modify the PC plan that was approved before, it's like a new submission. Because I suppose, yeah, because now we are listing maybe few changes that we are expecting, but maybe in the future we have more changes that we want to include. Then we have to update this and send a new submission to them. And when you say send a new submission, it's a new submission of the PCCP plan, not for all the files, just the PCCP plan that has to be submitted again and reapproved again. Or we talk about the older file.
Yeah, it depends on what affects. If you are just modifying the PCCP file, and this modification doesn't include any other modification within your technical file, it's fine. You can just, okay, I have modified this, and the FDA recommends you also to include that. Well, I have two things to say here. First of all, if you modify one of your PCCPs, it's recommended for you to include a change control traceability matrix so they can follow and go right directly to the changes you have performed. And then another different scenario is that if you maybe want to include a new change, you maybe can preserve your first plan and create a new one for the different changes. So it's again a new submission, but you are maintaining the first one as it is.
So you can have multiple PCCPs for one product then.
Yeah, but you must be careful because the other ones, if you have a lot number of PCCPs, the risk of anything is going to be increased. So you need to consider, one of the things you need to consider within this planning is the impact assessment, the risk assessment of the device. So having different PCC plans increase the risk on and the effort you need to apply to perform this impact assessment on the rest of the device, on the safety and effectiveness and all intended use.
So now if I ask you to just describe me in summary, what is the content of a PCCP? So is there some section what are the different sections that we have to go through or to fill, if I can send this document?
Yeah, sure. Well, in the draft guidance that were published by the FDA, that we have two as now, we have one published in 2023 that was specific for the artificial intelligence toward devices. And another one published couple of months ago, this summer, I think, for all the medical devices. You have all the details on the information you need to include, but basically you need to properly define the modifications you want to include in your plan. You are planning to perform in the future. And they strongly recommend you not to include a lot of changes, just a few clear ones so they can be properly followed. And as we were talking about, the risks are lower, so they cannot impact one on another.
Okay.
Another important section of this plan is the protocol, the modification protocols you are going to follow to validate, to verify and validate the device with the acceptance criteria, with the metrics, with all the information required, as we all, I assume we know. It is important to include a specific traceability matrix between the modifications and the performance activities that are going to be included in the procedure. And also, within this modification protocol, it's important to properly detail how manufacturers are going to update their devices once the changes have been validated, and so how they are going to implement the modification, communicate to the users, so the transparency and the labeling, how they are going to change all the documentation related. And last but not least, the impact assessment of the changes on the activities to be performed and the procedures, the updated procedures and the labeling and the possible training and so on. So these are the main sections of the...
So it's like a procedure on how you will manage your changes and how you will execute them. So it looks like maybe a procedure that you would have maybe on an ISO 13485 quality management system that is talking more about non-significant changes, how you will manage them, how you will execute them, how you will mention what is the impact, what is the risk, what you should do, etc. So it's mainly this, but more specific to your products or more specific to the types of changes that can happen to your product. So it's mainly that.
Yeah, but not only more specific, but also more detailed. They need proper detail. As I said, it's an independent file. So if they want to review it, they need to have all information included within this file. So they need all the details of the metrics. Maybe some of them or some of the risk are also explaining different documentation that you can refer to within your technical device. And yeah, and it should be part of your quality management system. It should be included within your version control and so on. So yeah.
So again, one thing that is important, if I have made a change that is non-significant, if I can say, but it has not been mentioned or the process has not been mentioned on PCCP, does it mean that this change anyway, I should communicate that to the FDA?
Well, you should refer to the guidelines explaining you what type of changes you need to notify. So if it is a change that you should notify and you have included it in your PCC plan, no problem. You have it covered. You need to follow your procedure and it's fine. But if it's a minor change, but you need to notify, although you have a PCC plan, as it is not included, you need to notify the change.
Okay, so it's why it's important to have a good strategy also on this PCCP plan. Maybe to go, as I said, on this list of what are the changes that have to be reported, and maybe take consideration of all those changes and see if you can include them on your PCP, unless it is touching about safety or change of the intended use of the device. So I think it's great. Can we go more specifically on some examples of allowed and non-allowed changes? So non-allowed changes, as we said, it's more about changes due to safety and intended use. What are some changes that can be allowed to be placed on the PCCP plan? Example
Well,
with maybe a software, as we talk about software mainly.
yeah. For example, imagine you have a skin lesion software that you have clear or you have it approved with a specific camera. But you need to include, or you have, okay, you can use this smartphone and this other one, but you need to include more smartphones so your device can be used by a broader people. So you can include this kind of modification, a different camera, but the same type of camera. For example, you cannot include a different kind of camera like was the thermal camera or so on. It's just this minor change. Or for example, if you have if you are manufacturing a pacemaker, you can include that is a higher risk device. You can include, for example, improvements on how your algorithms is detecting the battery status, but you cannot change the design of the battery.
Hey, just a second. Do you need a EU, Swiss or UK representative? Then choose Easy Medical Device. We can represent you and also become your importer. Contact us at eo@easymedicaldevice.com. So it's mainly some improvements that you can do without the need to inform. You are explaining how you will be following the check of this improvement, how you will inform, how you will train, how you will do, and this process, the full process as written, should be followed. What happens is, for example, I have written this process, the full process, but maybe one piece is not followed. Like I had to train maybe some people, but I haven't trained them. So what is the potential risk here for the manufacturers that have a PCCP agreed with all the steps, but maybe one step they have deviated from it?
Well, as you imagine, I'm going to say it, you need to perform a risk analysis on it, an impact assessment of the possible deviation, and also discuss it with the FDA. You need to contact and to tell, hey, I have this kind of deviation on my PCC plan. What do you think? This is my impact assessment. What do you think? Can I continue with it? Or do we need a new submission or a new modification on my PCC plan? Yeah.
Just maybe an hypothesis. Do you think, did you have this case maybe of the FDA saying, oh, what you have done is bad or wrong? you should even stop now selling your device, or should recall your device, or whatever, this kind of thing?
No, because you are not allowed to implement your change if there is a kind of deviation on the protocol, on the plan. So if you found during performance of the activities you have planned, you found any deviation, you are not allowed to implement the change until the FDA says, okay, you can implement it. And well, not recall, but you are not going to be allowed to implement your change as fast as you would have liked to.
So if the team has missed a step on the process and maybe they discover that later, it is a big risk then for their submission, or big risk for their product.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah,
Okay.
because the changes are, you are going to implement your PCC plan and you are going to implement your change, but in a later submission you need to do, the FDA is going to review the changes you have performed under your PCC plan. So if they found something, they are going to tell you. So maybe this is the scenario of a recall you are talking about.
So I suppose because FDA is not there every day, if I can say so. I know that there is maybe a time frame of 3 to 5 years to get an audit from an FDA. So mostly they can find that maybe 1 year or 2 years after that something was done wrongly. So it's a possibility also that they discover that during an audit.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, exactly. During a new submission or during an audit. Yeah.
So
Or during an incident too. I hope not.
exactly.
Yeah.
So do you think then, yeah, the big risk here is that they can ask you to recall everything from that time or something like that, or?
Well, again, you are going to guess what I'm going to say, but they also need to know and they need to complete the study on the impact on the device and the change as is through the population. So
The risk, yeah, the risk to the population, and if it's a big risk or low risk, yeah, exactly. Okay, no, I hope it's clear now for everybody what is a PCCP. Now, if we make a comparison to what the US has put in place and what we have in Europe, do we have the same principle in Europe or not?
well, in Europe we don't have this kind of plan, but I think that is coming.
Okay, great, good news.
Yeah, I think so because in the recently published Artificial Intelligence Act that you didn't want to mention, but I'm going to.
No, you can mention it. I just say that it's another topic. You can completely talk about that. It's not.
In this act, in this law, within the technical documentation required to the higher risk devices that has artificial intelligence, it is required detailed description of predetermined change to the artificial intelligence. So it's not a PCCP with the same names, but it's the same. They want to know what are the changes because, as all of us know, that algorithms are always improving. So they have included it within this regulation. So I think it's coming.
So this is for AI Act, but then the idea is that will it be extended to MDR maybe later, or I don't know, but yeah, I don't know for MDR because changing the MDR is also.
Yeah, I think at least the medical devices that incorporates artificial intelligence can have it on this component of their devices. So it's a win, I think. But yeah, and United Kingdom and Canada also approved the same guidelines as the FDA to this plan. So I think it's coming, yeah.
So what is important also to know for EU is that we have also some rules on submission or reporting changes with significant change and non-significant change. So we have also some rules to say if you change your device due to some elements, and there is an MDCG guidance with a flowchart on it, it tells you if yes, you have to report, no, you don't have to report, etc. So there are some predetermined rules here, but which are general to some types of devices. Here, what we talk about the PCCP is specifically to one device to be detailing exactly what change can happen and how you will proceed with the change, which is a bit different strategy. But there is something in Europe that is more general. It's not like something specific for this thing, but it's more general. But yeah, having something more specific can be helpful also for manufacturer to say, we will have this change, maybe a change of, even for a normal medical device, like a change of a material, say from this material to this other, but at the end it doesn't change, it doesn't impact security, not impact internet use, doesn't impact nothing else. So then can we allow that as long as we do this and that and that and that and that? So is it fine? So maybe this can be a good tool, but for the moment, yeah, it doesn't really exist. But it's good information that what you say about AI Act, that yes, software that has or devices that have artificial intelligence will need to have that, because mainly it's something that is interesting. Okay, so good. I think we covered everything. Thank you again, Maria. So maybe can you tell us more about how people, maybe what your company is doing and how you can help maybe the people that are listening to this podcast here?
Yeah, sure. Well, as I said, I'm working as a consultant for medical devices, in vitro medical devices, based on all kinds of medical devices and in vitro medical devices, and also with artificial intelligence and different algorithms. And also we help with clinical studies and many other things that I'm probably forgetting, but also cybersecurity aspects, not only in Europe, but also in the FDA or the country you decide to manufacture or to sell your product. And not also for manufacturers, also for importers, distributors. So all the field and all the choices and the options possible. So you can contact us. Working with
CMGMedDev,
CMGMedDev.
And I put all the details on the show notes. I will also put on the show notes the guidances for PCCP, so that there is the link. So you can just go and click on it. And you have also the LinkedIn page for Maria and CMGMedDev, so that you can contact them if you have any questions about PCCP maybe, or maybe other things. As they say, they can do a lot of things. Okay, Maria, so it was really a pleasure. Thank you again for all those information. And yeah, hopefully it will be helpful for people that are listening. For people that are listening, yeah, you can also put some comments on the LinkedIn post that we'll be having, or the YouTube channel. So don't hesitate to put your questions. If there is a question, I will push that to Maria so that she can go and answer to you directly. But yeah, don't hesitate. Otherwise, if you have any other topic about this, maybe that you want to us to discuss about, so you can also send an email to info@easymedicaldevice.com, info@easymedicaldevice.com, and I will be happy to gather some topics and invite again maybe Maria or other people to discuss about them. Okay, Maria, it was really a pleasure to have you. Thank you very much, and I wish you a nice day.
Bye.